Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Louise. Here
Here
we
we
are.
are. Hmm.
We're doing chapter 5, The Search of You Should Be Grateful, Stories of Race, Identity, and Transracial Adoption. Sorry for by Angela Tucker. Having a little bit of a
Yeah.
sinus thing today.
You and I both this week. I don't know what's going on, change of season or something, but
Mm-hmm.
the search. So this is good because well, there's many reasons it's good. All adoptees kind of search. We always say that even if they don't search, they search. You look through the crowd, you have your ghost kingdom. So you may be completely loyal, bought in, everything's amazing, you still search.
You still have that,
Just a
a
wonder.
corner of your eye. You're always looking out the corner of your eye, right
Yeah.
out the gate, because one of the young
Hmm.
girls in the adoptee lounge, was saying I was placed for adoption when I was a baby. My parents never even met my birth mom, so how do they know that she loved me? And then Angela gets into the phrase put up for
Hmm.
adoption, which is, you think about it, it is,
Yes.
it does conjure up a terrible image. And and why is
Yeah.
that? Because it was used for the orphan trains when kids were
Yes.
literally put up on
Put up
platforms,
for sale.
showing their muscles, put up for sale.
Their
And I mean,
teeth.
we've talked about the orphan trains before, but
Yeah.
that was when kids from New England were taken
Yeah.
and sent to the Midwest for to be farmed out to farms, literally.
Indentured servants.
Hmm.
Really. They were orphans and they'd be put up on, does she have nice teeth? Is hardworking? Let me feel her. Let's walk by. All day they'd stand
And I
there.
don't think they were all orphans. I think that
They were, yeah.
stolen from
Yeah.
poor families. This is a
Exactly.
crime in America to be poor.
It is still.
Any infraction can be put on you because you're poor. I mean, that is the message.
That is the message. And so she wants these kids, like she's heartbroken because the way they're saying it, they don't know the history and she's not going to teach them at that moment, but she jots down a little note like, I'm going to explain to them later better language to use about themselves. She makes a mental note about that. And then there's another little girl, right? Lydia, who kind
Hmm.
of who kind of
Oh,
comes
the you
with
grew in my heart metaphor.
the grew in my heart. She comes in and says, she blurts out, I just want my parents to tell me the truth about my adoption. They think I can't handle it, but I can. I just want to know why I had to be adopted. It never makes sense to adoptees that your mother loved you so much. That never made sense to me. If she
Yeah.
loved me so much, what the heck? And you just don't understand it, so you just
It is.
absorb it.
It's also kind of baffling because this is in the last couple of years. All this
Yeah,
stuff that this is. Again say this all the time. It's just so. I cannot believe that this narrative is still
yeah,
the most dominant one out
yeah,
there, and that when you bring things up to people, they're genuinely surprised that it
yeah.
never occurred to them that it could be
No,
anything but that.
no, and I think that she gets into. I like her writing because she gets into metaphors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Metaphors affect people. So when you say
Right.
you grew in my heart, you know what that means is like, don't attack my heart too, because if you grow in my
Yes.
heart, that's how I took it away. Like, because I kind of had that with my mom too. Like, I was so special to my mom, and like Angela's mom, my mom loved me. I didn't have a horrible situation, anything, but I felt that like, oh, I can't cross that because that's about her, right? So,
And she
yeah,
says here, the way Lydia's uh, the for Lydia, the heart-growing metaphor confused and stifled her. The way her adoptive mother's emotions are wrapped up in the metaphor made it exceedingly difficult for Lydia to label her adoption as the trauma that it is. The risk
yes,
of undermining her parents' emotions was simply too great. So great that it led her to forego what she knew about anatomy to fit her emotional desire. That
mm-hmm.
desire to believe her mom's words, that desire to be claimed. You grew in my heart. For Lydia, there was only room for one set of real parents.
Real parents, and she put the
Right.
little quotes on
Hmm.
that.
And then Angela,
Yeah,
says her parents were not like that. They always,
yes, right here. They never balked or seemed scared when I asked questions about my birth
mhm.
family or why I was adopted, which is huge if you're listening as a parent. Huge.
Yes,
Because she really
don't be
did have open
threatened.
parents. Yeah.
It's what adoptive parents, this threat of,
Yeah.
as if someone can't have conflicting existing emotions.
I thought about it because I thought I could. see myself being like that because I'm so attached to my kid, right? But you would hope that you can mentally say, okay, they need to understand who they are. And that only makes them closer to me for me to help that. That's so it's not an attack here. It's just more
That
education.
leads me to a deeper, that kind of leads me to a deeper
Mhm.
thought about attachment because I kind of, about bonding and attaching, right? Like if, are you so attached to your son? Am I so attached to my son because they were our first
Right.
and really only close biological relatives? We don't have a shared history
No.
with our other biological relatives. So
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that except to say that, yeah, I'm not sure where I'm going with
My
that.
mind is going with you. I just can't put it into words. I think everybody is going to go, oh, yeah, uh-huh, and finish that thought in your mind because I don't know. So Angela gets into her search and,
Right, because yeah,
hmm
that she feel there's an incomplete feeling that we
yeah,
have as adoptees.
even though she
Not
knew that she was open, she had to wait till she was 21. She needed to know, even with open language, she needed to know who she is.
Mhm. And 21, by the way. What
Yeah.
that I guess that was the law in Tennessee. Again,
That was,
recently, not long ago.
but you can
Well,
vote and go to war, but you can't find out who you are.
right.
And you still really can't. You have to do so much to find out who you are. One thing, she has a boyfriend she was very close to, Brian. I wanted to highlight that because he was very close to her. He had his own sort of knowledge about they had kids that came through foster care. He was very open and loving. He was white
Hmm.
and they were very close. He helped her through the search process. And that's part of the whole transracial, like, what's my identity? People are like, well, you're dating a white guy. Now you have, she's going through so much with this because she was raised with a white family and she
And then
is
even
black.
during her search too, some of her friends
Yes.
are like, you have great
Oh,
parents, and
that
that's
pissed
all.
me off.
This is what we hear as adoptees from other people. Like, I don't get it. You have these wonderful parents, and
Yes.
your birth. Why would you want to find someone who gave you up? That
I literally had
again,
someone
part of
say
the
that to me
problem.
recently. They're like, your parents were the bomb. I'm like, my parents were the bomb. And it's okay that I know my bio family too. Like I knew what
Yeah.
they were saying. I knew what they were saying.
And then
No,
here's what I highlighted too. Sorry, Angela, I ended up using a highlighter.
I'm still
It's
on the
too,
sticky.
it was like last night at 11. I'm like, I can't, I got to use the highlighter. I highlighted about how in order to apply, they have to fill out 150, send a check plus
Yeah.
additional cost. And it's just like, well, the adoptee is always saddled with these costs. And often,
And she was mean about it on the phone.
right.
Lady, it's like, yeah, here.
Why are we responsible for these costs? We had
Yeah.
no agency in any of
No.
this. And
No.
here we are, like, you have to pay.
And she gets the stuff in the mail after $150 she had to borrow from
And
her
it's
parents.
stuff she already had. It wasn't her
It's
original
the
birth
same
certificate.
stuff.
Yeah,
People don't realize it's not your original birth certificate. That is an illegal thing to change someone's birth certificate. I
right.
always think if we did that now, we go to jail.
Yeah.
But this is what they do. And so she has to now search a different way for her parents.
And then they get into, what all adoptees, that intensive detective work that
Oh,
we have to do on our own. And Facebook was around. And
yeah.
she was, this was probably, I don't know.
I,
Actually, I do know it said had her birthday. So this was like
hmm
she was 21, so this was probably 16, 17, 18 years ago, somewhere around
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So Facebook came into play and
Yeah. And
uh
Johnson, by the way, her mom's last name is Johnson. So let's go there. That's like a huge, but they on her original papers that they gave her, there was one redacted name, Odorous. Oh, Otis.
yes, a
And
really unusual name they kind of it
she,
took a minute and Brian the boyfriend found that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, she'd never
Found the
seen it.
name and yeah,
She had looked so many times for the mom and just kind of ignored that. And he's like, I think your father's name is here. And they figured out he had four letters in his name. So they figured out who he was and they
found him.
found
But
him.
here's the thing that also I highlighted. Hardly anyone knows that resources like putative father registries exist.
Oh,
This
Hmm.
is a state-run organization that allows women the right to be notified when an adoption of their offspring occurs. But these registries aren't advertised on billboards, park benches, subway cars, or the men's bathrooms at bars and restaurants. And then she goes into stats of like how many
Yeah.
babies and how, I mean,
Yeah. And he turns out to be someone called the Flower Man because they find something about him on the radio. They're raising money for him. He must be ill. And she's like, and her ghost kingdom kind of went, oh, this is my dad. And he had the
yep,
same face. They scoured
I
pictures and
know. She's the
pictures.
first time she'd seen a
Oh,
mirror of herself. So I can't wait. I guess next week, part
yeah.
two, experiencing. We'll start with chapter
Experiencing.
6, white privilege by osmosis. I'm going
Yeah.
to be,
Oh, wait. In the one line, we have to say this. This is our very closing line. I had to go meet him, then I'd be whole,
yes.
which we know isn't going to happen.
Okay, so now we have Jennifer.
Yeah.
So see you in a minute.
I'll see you in a minute.